Welcome back to the Coach Steve Show. If this is your first time being here, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow it and rate on Apple and iTunes and Spotify. It just helps grow the podcast a long way. Welcome in. If you're watching it right now, leave a comment saying you're here, thumbs up, all that good stuff, no matter where you're watching. Just let me know that you're watching. Give thoughts, questions, anything like that. Go for it. So welcome in. If you've watched this before, yes, again, we're still upgrading a little bit. Background, desk, camera, everything's getting updated around here. Just trying to do our best. Yes, that is an Alabama helmet. Get over it. AT1 where I coach Illinois Bears, obviously. New book, everything else. Got some decorations, so just trying to upgrade around here a little bit. So welcome in, giving it time. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Thanks to everybody that has served the United States military and those who continue to serve. They make the ultimate sacrifice. So thank you guys for all that you have done to help with America and our freedom and everything, even though the United States is it's a little crazy in the United States right now, but without them, we wouldn't have the United States. Without them, we wouldn't have freedom. We wouldn't be able to do the things that we do. So we thank you guys for your service. So today's short episode, we're going to talk about everybody's favorite player in the NBA. No, it's not LeBron James. It's Draymond Green. Draymond Green, obviously, he's been around the league for a while. Watched him play at Michigan State from watching the Big Ten, and he's been around for a while. Won some championships. He has a certain way about him of playing the game. He is a very tough player. I want to put that up front right now. Very tough player. High energy. Very high motor. That Energizer Bunny type of thing, never stops moving. But does get a lot of fouls. I think he does take things a little too far sometimes, but that's just part of his tenacity. He sometimes plays like it is the 80s and 90s and early 2000s when it comes to physicality, but then when people are physical with him back, he looks for fouls or he complains a little bit, in my opinion. Is he good at basketball? Yes. Just because of his energy. I always tell our basketball players, high energy, high effort, rebounding, everything else takes care of itself. So when he does bring high energy to the team, he does rebound, he does bring high effort. So he's a decent player, obviously. He was part of those championship teams. Without him, do they win? Maybe, but he does bring a high level to those championship type of teams. Now, he has his own podcast and he has his own comments now, and so it gets put out there a lot more than anything else. So we're going to talk about some comments he made a few days ago, I believe, on the big podcast with Shaq. Shaq started his own podcast, doing very well, and he just started it. People respect what Shaq has to say because he doesn't BS anybody. Won a lot of championships, has been on TV for a while. Very successful business guy with his investments. But he has podcasts. People are going to listen to it. Draymond Green went on there and had a lot to say about different questions that Shaq had pointed out or had asked him. And so we're going to discuss some of the comments he made that bothered me a little bit or deserve some extra conversation as to where that comes from or why he said those things, and we're just here to discuss it. So one of the first comments we're going to talk about is, Shaq asked Draymond Green about his fines, and Draymond Green starts talking and says basically that it's crazy the amounts that they get fined, the inconsistency with what fines are for what, and the prices of them, and goes on to say that the NBA is not set up for them to be successful after basketball because of the amount of money they have to pay. So it sets them up to be like broke after they're done playing, even though there's programs out there to help them with investing, how to take care of their money, and says basically from the backgrounds that a lot of these players come from, it's just not set up that way. And I have some thoughts on that and some concerns as to why he said that and is it true. So let's just play this clip as to why what he actually said, because I don't agree with a lot of it. So let's take a listen here to Draymond Green's answer to this question.
The fines to me don't make sense. When you talk about as hard as we work to accumulate wealth, coming from situations that most people never make it out, and then you get fined the way we get fined, it's actually not set up for us to be wealthy after we're done playing. This job is not set up the way we're taxed.
Oh, California?
The way we're taxed, the way we're fined, and you hear about all these programs like this program, this program, that is to cover everybody. This program is to teach this guy this. But if I do something wrong, I lose $100,000. Man, it took my mom 4 years when I was growing up to make $100,000. And I lose that in the night because what? The referee got mad at me and he didn't like what I said to him. So I lose $5,000 like that, like on a tech.
Okay, we're going to stop that clip. So he had a lot to say there. First of all, if you don't want to pay the fines, don't do dumb stuff. Don't talk to the refs then. Like I said, Draymond Green complains a lot and says things to the ref. And just talking to some of the high school coaches I work with, our kids now do that because subconsciously, I think they just do it because they watch NBA players who they're supposed to look up to, and they start doing it. And I think this is why. I think they subconsciously, from watching this, say, well, these NBA players, Draymond Greens of the world and everything else, they can do that, or they do it. I'm going to do it, right? So first of all, don't get fined, right? I don't know how many NBA players actually get fined. And he's talking about $100,000. Now, he made a point that it took his mom 4 years to make $100,000, right? From everything I've heard, his mom was hardworking, got them to school, never going to go after that whatsoever. So that comment, people seem to have a problem with that comment. I do not have a problem with that comment about his mom, hardworking lady. My problem is, $100,000 is a ton of money to me, to anybody listening or watching. That's a ton of money, right? But when you're signing, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 year deals worth $100 million, that $100,000 compared to that or $100 million, or even if it's $50 million, $20 million, that's nothing, right? Like when you look at it that way now, to him, the way he probably grew up and the way he looks at money, to him, yeah, that's a lot of money, right? And he doesn't want to pay that. So maybe it is a lot of money, but you have the money to do that, right? They'll just take it out of your pay, right? They'll just say, okay, this year, that's what I get frustrated about, is when people like that complain about that type of money. If we had to pay that money, we're bankrupt, right? Some of us are bankrupt. There's no way we'd be like, okay, or we have to do a payment plan. Like, okay, we'll come up with a payment plan of $100,000. So that part rubbed me the wrong way, talking about the fines, right? I agree with him because like I said, these are just clips. He goes on to talk about how different people get fined for different things, and it's inconsistent. And that part I agree with. I think there needs to be some consistency of what breaks the rules and everything else. Is there a thing lined up where you talk about certain things in a press conference? Here's the different fines that could happen, or like blocks, like, hey, it can be between $50,000 and $100,000. If you're a person that continues to get fined, it's going to obviously be on the high end because you have not learned your lesson. He goes on to make a comment about how corporate America and stuff doesn't have to do fines. And I get that to an extent, like your big time millionaires and stuff, but like normal jobs don't. and he complains about that. Well, guess what? You're playing a game, right? Basketball is a game. It's not easy to make the NBA, and I'm not saying that, but you got to think about it. You're putting a lot of hard work. You're putting a lot of hours. You're traveling. You're away from your family, but you are compensated very nicely. 5 years, $100 million. Some of these people sign. So those type of people that complain about money, I don't understand it. Stop complaining about money. Well, there's some of us that live paycheck to paycheck, can't buy a house because they need this huge down payment or the interest rate's too high. Like, to people who have the money that he has or Shaq has, I'm okay if they don't have the mindset to spend it all. But for them, there's no question if they want to go buy a $800,000 house, they could go pay for it right now. They want this brand new car, they can go get it right now. The drip, the chains, they can go get it, send their kids to school, no problem. But then he talks about how because of the fines, the NBA is not set up for people to have money after. Now, I know there was a documentary out before about how there are professional athletes that go broke, but I don't think that's because of the fines. That's because they're making dumb decisions with money. They get the money and they're giving their friends money. They got to give family members money outside of their parents. They got to give siblings money. I remember watching a documentary. They talked about it's an image thing. So if somebody walks in with a $200,000 necklace, well, then you got to go get something more, especially if you're a top dog making money. Like, it was about an image thing and the cars and everything else. And this is why they go broke. And he talks about there are programs, but like, I don't understand that part either, because you're talking about not being set up to have money after. You're telling me that you're going to spend $20 million a year and not be able to, especially with all the access now to different things and to invest it, to start, like, I don't understand that. That point made no sense. I think he's just frustrated with being fined all the time. Well, stop doing dumb stuff, Draymond Green. Stop, getting in fights. Stop yelling. Stop complaining and saying these things. Because does he realize that without refs, you're not playing and you're not making the money anymore? And again, it's a game. It's a game. People play this basketball game for fun. People pay to play it. They'll pay money to play in leagues. Like, it's a game, and you're making millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. So I don't think that part's true, that it's set up for them to fail. It's not the NBA's responsibility to say what you do with your money, but they have programs. Former NBA players are going back and telling them how to invest their money and do things and try to be smart because they understand it. Shaq is very, respectable in that realm of the world and gives back and does those things. So Draymond Green just saying these things, I don't agree with at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. So again, Draymond Green just yapping about things that don't make sense because people have left and still have money. Then they go and get other jobs just to have other jobs. So Draymond Green, maybe if you stop complaining to the refs, stop yapping, stop getting into fights during a game, maybe this wouldn't be an issue. But you're complaining about $100,000 fine, a $5,000 fine, when you're making millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? So stop complaining about that stuff. Stop. Like, I have no sympathy for Draymond Green, him saying that stuff. I have no sympathy for him for that, because you're doing it to yourself, and you're secure, and you have guaranteed money in your contract, and you're going to make more money to spend than we could spend in our lifetime, right? If maybe you could, but responsibly, if you gave me $20 million in 1 year, I would have to actually try and make sure I spend the money and spend $20 million. So I don't understand where that part comes from. And Shaq kind of agreed with him to an extent. But I think he was just very curious about Draymond Green's mind and what he was thinking. And I think a part of Shaq probably disagreed with it, but he wanted to get to other topics. So Draymond Green, I don't know what you're yapping about, but you got to rethink that stance there, my man. I don't understand that at all. The biggest one that he said for this is Shaquille O'Neal asked him about different questions, and it's a good episode. I've listened to almost all of it, and it's good. Ask some questions. There's some actual the way Draymond Green explains things, explains it very well. But then Shaq said, "Okay, pick any one of your Warriors championship teams. Pick any one of the Lakers championship teams that he was a part of. Who wins? How many games?" And this was the longest conversational part. You're just going to get just a clip. You're not going to get the whole thing. But we're going to play the clip of what Draymond Green thinks. Who would win between the Warriors and the Lakers?
Shaq's Lakers against your Golden State Warriors. Any of my championship team, any of your championship team, who wins? And the bonus question, who guard me? Please don't say Andrew Bogut.
I don't think any one player on our team could have guarded you. I do think there were defensive schemes that we could have thrown at you to affect you. One is not letting you get the ball. So we're going to guard you with a guy in front of you, the guy behind you.
They did that.
Yeah, I wasn't on the court, though.
All right, so what you going to do, stand behind me?
I'm standing in front. Ain't no ball getting to you.
What you mean the ball don't get to me?
I'm not 6 feet.
But you ain't 7 feet.
I got 7'3" wingspan.
And I got 9'4" wingspan.
Yeah, but you can't get the ball through me. Andrew Bogut's behind.
Stop
I'm in
it.
the front.
Stop
We're
it.
leaving somebody over there to shoot because you couldn't shoot.
But however, Bogut going to be in foul trouble. Now, who your backup center?
Me.
Draymond, stop.
Me.
Draymond.
Shaq, I don't think I could have guarded you. I'm not saying that. However, you would have had to bring your big out of that drop. Man, if you stay back there, I'm going to nail whoever guarding Steph. I'm going to nail whoever guarding Clay, and we're going to dot your eye every play.
Okay, but you know what's going to happen after that? I'm going to tell D-Fish, get up on him, let him drive, and I'm going to lay his little up.
Hey, then we got to fight.
All right, what you got to fight then?
And guess what? You getting thrown out the game and me getting thrown out the game. Who's that going to hurt worse? Your team. Then y'all lose.
So I guess we're not going to fight then. Who guarding Kobe?
Clay.
No, come on. Oh my God, Draymond Green, you are better than this. You listening to this and listening to his before, at least he can explain things. You're a smart guy. Draymond, come on, man. You're smarter than this. I respect Draymond Green because if you think about it, would he actually say, oh no, you'd beat us? No, he wants to stand up for himself and his team and coaches, and he's going to stand there and say they win. But the confidence that he said it with, like, come on, Draymond. I like the confidence, but be realistic, right? So Shaq's question basically was, who's going to guard him? And then, like, what? And so he was like, oh, we could throw defensive schemes at you. And Shaq's face was like, what do you mean defensive schemes? Like Shaq played in the eras in the late 90s and the 2000s where people wanted to throw everything at him. They'd have people in front, people behind, people to the side. He'd still get the ball. He'd still push people around and dunk until they came up with Hack-a-Shaq. But people almost really forget that Shaq could run the court. So in fast breaks, he could come get the ball and dunk it and get to the lane, right? I think people forget that. Draymond, you are so much smaller. Like, do they not remember, especially the early days? Especially, so if you brought the Orlando Magic Shaq in, there's no way Draymond keeps up. Then you bring in the Lakers Shaq, where just a little bit slower, and I'm not saying by much, but then you add the strength and size that he brought. Draymond, you get pushed around like a rag doll. Then you have someone in front and behind. Cool. You're taking somebody off one of the Lakers. You have Kobe Bryant out there. You have Derek Fisher that can knock down a shot. If it's early on, you have Ori and everybody. Like, come on, man. Like, you're not. No. Now, this is just a clip. As they continue the conversation, Shaq asks a big important question. Are we playing in your era or my era? And Draymond Green comes on and says, we play in your era, we lose. We play in our era, we win. And Shaq talks about how soft this era is and everything. And so they go a little bit back and forth. I still think in either era that any of those championship team Lakers will win, because I think people forget that the young Derek Fisher, he is very strong. He could bully Stephon Curry all down. I'm not saying you're going to stop Curry from scoring. This is not something about like, oh, they're going to stop him. But the fact of slowing him down, So you're going to have to be able to, Derek Fisher would be able to guard Steph Curry. Kobe Bryant, for sure, 10 out of 10 times, would be able to guard Klay Thompson, for sure. And then Draymond, if they're scoring because of Draymond Green, they're going to win. Okay? So you got to be able to pick your poison here of who you would stop off those Lakers teams. And the Laker team would be able to say, okay, they want to shoot threes and go up and down. We could slow it down, move the ball around. Shaq is going to eventually get the ball and score. And then the question he asked, who's going to guard Kobe? And he says, Klay. And he was so confident. You watch the whole podcast or listen to it. He was so confident that he was going to be able to go up and guard Kobe Bryant. What? Klay Thompson couldn't hold Kobe Bryant's jock strap. He couldn't even wear his shoes. Kobe Bryant would have ate him up. So you're going to put Steph Curry on Kobe Bryant, especially then. I'm not talking about the Kobe Bryant in the later days, like after he won 5 championships. I'm talking about the Kobe Bryant who was high-flying, dunking, and driving on people into the lane. You think Steph Curry would stop that? You think that Klay Thompson is going to stop him doing that? That's one of the dumbest things I have heard. That Lakers team would out-physical the Warriors teams, pound them into the ground and wear them down, and Shaq and Kobe would take over. And nobody on those Warriors teams is going to stop anybody on that Lakers team or stop those two. Then when you want to send 3 or 4 of those guys, move the ball around, then they'll move without the ball, and they're going to get there and score. Draymond Green, you are an intelligent person. You went to Michigan State. You have a high basketball IQ. If people listen to you talk, even though we don't agree with a lot, you're explaining of the game. You are very intelligent when it comes to that stuff. You've got to really consider, because the NBA game now is shooting threes, and you continue to watch. It goes, well, you guys had nobody to shoot threes. Robert Horry could hit a 3. Kobe Bryant could shoot threes. Derek Fisher, has he forgotten some of the big shots he made as well? Like, Shaq could be able to guard Andrew Bogut or Draymond Green. Kobe could guard Klay. Kobe could guard Steph Curry. Derek Fisher could guard either one of those two. And there's players that I'm forgetting from those Lakers times because it was so long ago. But you've got to be kidding me with that statement. Those Lakers teams in any era are going to win. Now, if you put them in today's era, I think that, and we're talking about a series, we're not about just one game, we're talking about like over a 7-game series, right? I think if you put them in the 2000s era, Lakers win in 4 or 5. I think if you put the game in today's era, I think Lakers win in 6. It could go to 7 only because of the threes and everything else. But ultimately, that Lakers team is going to bully them. It's going to wear them down. And then you got Warriors, like, you live and die by the 3. And a lot of times they won by the 3. They have not died. But you're going to spend so much energy on defense trying to figure out, are you going to stop Shaq? You going to stop Kobe? The disrespect to Kobe Bryant has always fathomed, like, I can't fathom the disrespect that he gets when it comes to that stuff, right? So Shaq's face said it all. Who's going to, like, you really, like, Draymond's going to guard him, Andrew Bogut. Shaq's talking about getting them in foul trouble too. Like, that's the other thing. Shaq can get people in foul trouble. The high flyer Kobe Bryant could get people in foul trouble. Like, that's just that's what's going to happen, Draymond. Now, are they going to win some games in a series? Yes. Yes, they're good. Now, it depends on which Warriors team we're talking about again, because then it starts to change. And then is it the one with Kevin Durant on it? You put Kevin Durant on there, which I wish Draymond could have brought up. They were talking about him and Steph and Klay because they've been the main pieces. So I think he focused more on they've been the ones on the Warriors this whole time. Now you bring a Kevin Durant, bringing that into the equation. Now that's what could help them. But he's talking about defensive schemes. They could throw defensive schemes at Kevin Durant. Kobe Bryant would have guarded Kevin Durant. Kobe Bryant's stronger than him. Kobe Bryant would have pushed him out of there. Like, Robert Horry would have pushed him out of there. Like, there's ways. Now, again, it would be an awesome series. I still think now you bring Kevin Durant into that situation, I think you'll go to 7 games in today's era. Then back in the day, it'd still be maybe 6 because Kevin Durant would not be able to handle the physicality of any of it, right? So those are unique conversations, and I love those conversations better than the GOAT debate. These are fun to talk about, but it was talked about too, where the Warriors that beat the Bulls when could like beat them. No, like the Bulls would have out physical them and wore them down. So Draymond, you are way smarter than that. You have to know that the Lakers teams with those guys would have beat you. So I just some of those comments, man, I just can't believe the confidence that he was saying about those. It's insane. Draymond, you're smarter than that. Guys, leave comments about your thoughts on that. Like, what do you think about his comments about the NBA players aren't set up well? Oh, and the taxes part, like we all pay taxes. The more money you make, the higher taxes you're going to be paying. So that part, we all feel that, Draymond, and you making all that money, come on, like stop it. And then who would win? Any championship Warriors team that Draymond's been on and any championship team Shaq and Kobe have been on. Who wins? And in how many games? So thank you guys for watching or listening. Remember to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow it right on Apple and iTunes and Spotify. Follow on X or Twitter. Coach_Steve72 and the Coach Steve Show. Instagram, Coach Steve72. TikTok, Coach Steve72 as well. Check out the book. Check out all the affiliates in the description below. Check out all the other episodes. Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.